just psyching myself up a little bit. I really, really am happy to be here right now. Welcome back to Y.E.S, everyone. Today we are talking about Diplo, the fourth self-titled studio album released by Diplo. This is one of those albums that I probably was more stoked to listen to than I thought I was going to be, because in 2020 he released two albums and both were pretty interesting in their own right, but this one I had no idea what he wanted to do, and in the end I was pretty surprised because this is kind of music that really usually grips me pretty hard. In his own words, he describes it more like a mixtape or like a nightclub feel. And overall, I would say when someone describes music like that, I'm pretty on board, which is kind of funny because I don't find mixtapes for the most part in certain genres very effective, but I think in EDM, I really don't care all that much. One thing I will say about not all the songs, but in a couple where I feel like they were purposely marketed in order to be mainstream, something that we would hear on the radio. Although, funny enough, I feel like those songs are not the ones that are in fact getting played on the radio, not necessarily maybe a radio in general. I'm just talking about the standard mainstream radio. But for me personally, if I was in charge of a DJ booth, yeah, I would be playing some of these songs in order to make people happy. And yes, a lot of the other songs do fit that nightclub feel. So let's find a way to talk about both those aspects. I will start with the mainstream stuff first because I think it will easily grip you as much as it did me. Let's start with the song Don't Forget My Love. Don't forget my love. As I mentioned before, yes, it does meet some of those basic expectations for what is kind of enjoyable from a mainstream audience. But the vocals added by Miguel, I think, are wonderful and just fit the song perfectly. And also, in the chorus, the guitar. Yeah, perfect element to be added here. The next song that kind of fits that same mold is the song Looking For Me. This one features Paul Woolford and Karine Lomax, and they actually are featured together in another song called Promises, which also I happen to like and have added to my playlist. Although I will say that one is slightly more of the, I guess, underground EDM feel. You'll know what I mean by once you hear it. Okay, so you kind of get the picture with those little clips of the mainstream feel. Let's talk about the nightclub feel. I want to start off with the second track on here called High Rise that has Amtrak and Leon Bridges. If Leon Bridges' voice was not already supremely soothing and just easy to listen to, accompanying this beat was fairly inspired, I must say. There's also a song in here called Forget About Me, night version. Accompanies two artists named Aluna and Durante, and yeah, it just flows along with that feel that Diplo seems to be striving for. Now, looking back on my notes, I kind of realized that not quite half, but kind of close, of this album still has some great qualities to it, but there were songs that I did not feel that I could add to my playlist, and I'm going to try to explain a few of them as to why that would be. There are songs like Make You Happy or Side Piece that are perfectly fine, but they kind of suffer from some repetition or just not enough little bits of additional elements sprinkled throughout the songs that would just add additional interest or flavor for me to be able to really grip it. Then there's a track called Waiting For You, which I don't feel like I disliked all that much, but it was semi-spoken word per se, near the end, and it just felt kind of out of place. And when you try to mix up your lyrics that much, or at least your vocal accompaniment, it loses me more than I thought it could affect my experience. And then probably the easiest song on here for me that I'm not on board with is the song Home, which features Lil Yachty. Actually, surprisingly, it's not as vulgar as I thought it would be. It's pretty empty lyrically. Like, it literally offers nothing for me to actually care about it. This is actually a song where production-wise, I probably could fill it in with another artist with different lyrics, and I'd probably be fine because the production beat is just fine. But yeah, I think it is a huge miss for Yachty on here. And the funny part was, I actually didn't mind his vocal style on here, but hey, what are you gonna do? He does come from a genre and a very niche style of that genre that I personally don't subscribe to all that well. But you can, in some ways, add your style to it effectively. But in the end, if you are going to be a vocalist of sorts, you have to offer something. Beyond that, there really isn't all that much depth that any of you need to really sink yourselves into. It's just something you are going to enjoy or you think is probably passable. And I find myself kind of on both ends of that feeling depending on which song you're talking about. Production, creativity, lyrics, they all vary to so many different degrees depending on which track you're talking about. But the ones that I mentioned here and several others, I would add to my playlist. And I think this is one where everyone's going to think of this album a little differently, but probably everyone is going to have a similar feel for the overall project. My guess, just a guess. So let me get to that part of the review. So after having listened and reviewed this album with the following grades in the following categories here, how would I recommend this album? I am going to give it a good. Like I said, a few songs are pretty consistent. I like them. Some I like, while admitting also that there are minute issues with it. And then there are some songs where I'm like, it's kind of okay, but the thing that bothers me probably wouldn't bring me back to listen to it. I think a lot of people are probably going to vary on certain songs in here. I think the ones that I recommended, I think most people will like if you're into this kind of genre. But as for the rest of it, you're gonna have to find out for yourself. And if you have listened to this album, what did you think of it? And if you're a huge Diplo fan, what do you think of this versus his other projects and collaborations? Because, hey, they've all been pretty different. So I'm eagerly interested to hear what other people have to say about this album versus the others. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me in my social media links down in the description below, and be sure to leave a comment about what you think I should review next or anything else you think I should talk about in the realm of entertainment. But above all, remember to chase excellence, chase quality, chase yes. Remember, we are your entertainment specialists.